Talking Toronto Raptors bench unit and a subtle tweak for Darko Rakovic. Normally it's Scotty Barnes and 4 guys from the bench when he's taking his extended bench minutes, but then there started to trickle in a little OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes, giving Scotty some help on the wing and a more established shooter. Your impressions of how this bench is shaking out so far, Warren Ward, we'll start with you.
I think Jack made a really good point in the first half of the game yesterday, and he said that usually when your bench comes in, they either want to maintain the lead or just, not lose it. And I feel like the Raptors usually this season and last season, they've been playing catch up. So you're putting a lot more pressure on their bench to come back from some sort of deficit. And I think having the 2 starters, at least 2 in there, should help the Raptors maintain some sort of lead or just not blow a lead. And we've seen that before, because in the first half, and especially in the first quarter, the Raptors this season especially have been losing the first quarter, and they're playing catch up in games, and it's just not working that way. So I think the adjustments, it worked well yesterday.
Yeah. One of the most telling stats so far this season, the Raptors have no players in the top 30 in terms of minutes played. So the bench is playing a bigger role throughout whatever's happened so far.
Well, and I like that on any given night, it's a different guy that is kind of impacting the game. We saw, Boucher get the chain after. Yep. We've seen Malachi at last game. So Precious played good in the last home game that Toronto played. So there's different guys that are becoming the X factor in some of these games. And so it doesn't always just have to be the bench. It can be just one guy from the bench that can ignite the team and get them to where they need to be. And I like the fact that Darko's giving them this sort of free reign. It's very difficult, for a guy like Malachi Flynn his minutes were so up and down last year. You don't play for 3 or 4 games, and then you get in there in the second quarter down 14. What are you supposed to do at that point? And so the way he's playing now is he's embodying what the coach is empowering inside of him, and that's confidence. And
it's a long-term investment too. It'll pay dividends even on the nights when he doesn't play well.
For sure,
it's trusting. He has trust in it.
Yeah, and
that's all you want.
When you watch him play, you're like, this guy can play.
Yeah.
He can dribble. He can shoot. He can run the offense. He's a pass-first guy. Like, he gets after defensively. And when we had GM Bobby Webster on Raptors Tonight the first day, he said, what we need from him defensively is to be a pest, and that's what he's doing. He's kind of sagging down a little bit defensively and trying to get his hands in there and knock away some basketballs, and I think that's keeping him on the floor as well. Not just him making threes, but making threes is a huge thing for Malachi Flynn. He's doing that.
All right, so the one guy you could depend on last year to give you big nights is kind of turning the corner. Let's talk about Pascal. Again, I've said this so many times. People questioned whether Pascal's on the same timeline as this group or whether he'd fit in with this offense. Randy, I haven't talked to you about this yet. Your thoughts on whether Pascal's turned the corner with this Toronto Raptors model?
Well, Pascal has a different job this year than he did last year, and he's trying to get acclimated in that job, right? Like what he's being asked are different things, and so I think he's just now starting. Well, he's been doing this for the last little while. He's been getting more comfortable in that role, right? Like, he's working at the same place, but his role has changed. And but I think what they're figuring out now is that, as much as he's changed it, they still need to utilize that role. That, like, this guy's a go-to scorer. We need to get him the ball. And I think that they're getting him in spots more often now that make him more successful.
Post up, P.
The post is that this could be his bread and butter going forward, right? Like, everybody changes their game. You saw what Brook Lopez did from the beginning of his career to now. You could change your game dramatically and have a massive, massive career. And I don't even think Pascal needs to change it dramatically. I think he can still do all the things he did last year. But for this group, it might be better with, a few more post-ups than.
Well, you said it, post. He leads the league in scoring in that area right now. Mm-hmm. He's the best post scorer in the NBA right now. Mm-hmm. And I think in the beginning of the year, Darko was looking for his team to play more off the dribble, drive, and kick. But he's starting to realize that they're best doing a little bit more isolation for Pascal, and it's paying dividends. What else more can you ask for? He's the only Raptor in the last 6-7 years to continuously get better. So to say he's not fitting in, or that's all nonsense. He has continuously gotten better, which is the hardest thing to do in basketball. Mm-hmm. He has a new role in the same job, right? Mm-hmm. And it's how do you adjust to all that? And he's done that in a short amount of time. They've only played maybe how many games have they played now? I don't
15.
15 games.
Yep.
And look what he's done already. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit inconsistent at times, but overall done a pretty good
still
job.
up to 20 points per game.
Exactly. And the average is 17 for his career.
Yeah.
So
He's definitely found his rhythm so
100%.
far. Let's check in with Pascal Siakam post game.
Obviously, you take it very serious, but there's moments in the game where you're smiling and a lot of the guys getting excited. Do you like to be a part of games like this that challenge you to adapt in different moments?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, like, obviously, I think that's something that Coach is always trying to tell us. It's like, again, I know this is important, but, like, that's his favorite saying. We play basketball for a living, you know? Like, this is fun. We're getting paid. I think just, like, trying to find that joy into the game, competing every single night. I think that, you know, once we do that, like, we give ourselves a chance to be in the game and have an opportunity to win. So I think that, you know, our approach got to be better, our energy got to be better in the beginning of the games. And just, you know, coming into game with just going out there and competing. Like, this is what we do, like, and we got to find joy in it.